What is up guys, it's Troy at The Full Setup here, back with another video for you. Now last week I made a video basically showing you that you didn't need a HDMI 2.1 4K TV to enjoy 120Hz and variable refresh rate on the new Xbox Series S and X. Of course the 4K 120Hz is the holy grail, but obviously you can still have a really good enjoyable gaming experience on 1080p and 1440p monitors. And quite a lot of you have been watching that, and quite a lot of you have been asking a lot of questions on it that I thought I'd wanted to do a follow-up video. Mainly because one thing that people have been asking probably more than most, and I did cover it in that video, but you might have missed it, and there was quite a lot of other things to discuss, so I want to put a good focus on that little fix at the end of the video, is how you can actually force 120Hz if you don't see it. So you go over to your display settings on your Xbox, you've got resolutions, but you've got no drop downs. So I'm going to show you how you can force it at the end of the video. But one thing you're going to have to know is if you override to go to 120Hz, you will lose variable refresh rate. Okay, you won't have FreeSync on. But as I've already mentioned to a lot of people, it's what you want really. For me, 60Hz with variable refresh rate on a console that's going to hit 60 frames per second in most games anyway, or 120Hz without variable refresh rate, meaning that I might get a little bit of judder and stutter when we get a frame dip, I would still take the 120Hz. That's what I'd want. And another issue as well that's come about as well, I did talk about in the original video, you know, you could be using this on 1440p monitors. If you had an Xbox Series X, I would push you towards getting a 2K 1440p monitor, but it seems like there's been quite a lot of issues about that. So I'm going to show you the little issue as well on my display in a second for you. And if you want to read up on that a little bit more, if you're a bit worried trying to get a 2K monitor, there's also a Reddit thread in the description below to this video. Have a little look at that as well. You can see people that have been able to get some 2K displays working. Seems to be a timing issue, and for the most 2K monitors are struggling to hit 120Hz, but I think it's more of a Microsoft issue than it is the monitor issue. So definitely go and check that out. Hopefully it gets patched and hopefully it gets fixed soon. Also, it's worth mentioning that I am using a new camera today as well, so I'm still getting used to it all. Just so many settings to go. I've gone for the Sony a6400. Only got the kit lens at the moment, but I'm going to get a new one, and I'm shooting in manual focus because I found with the kit lens I was just getting a bit of focus pull. I've got a few too many things around me. Okay, so hopefully I'm in focus, otherwise it's just going to be a whole video of me being out of focus. And for audio, I'm just using the little Rode Lav Go microphone. It isn't the best mic that I've got here, but I just didn't want to add extra stuff into the mix. Just want to focus on getting the camera right. But yeah, I do like the a6400. I'd recommend it. The face tracking is absolutely brilliant actually. It's just not for me with all of the stuff that I've got behind me, but when I've been doing walk around, it's very good. And I know a lot of you just want to see the fix. Okay, if all you want to see is the fix, go to later in the video. But a lot of you have been asking a lot of questions. If you've never bought a PC monitor before, especially to go with consoles, if you don't know the difference between the different HDMI standards, I am going to cover all of that again first before I show you the fix. So as I mentioned there, overriding. If you override it, you will lose variable refresh rate, okay? You're not going to be able to run FreeSync. There isn't a way around it at the moment. I don't know if it will be patched later in software, but I don't think it will when you're doing override settings. Now, your cable choice, use a HDMI, okay? You can get HDMI to DisplayPort cables, but that is going to limit you to 60Hz. Now, someone did make a very good comment in the last video that you can get an active adapter. I'm not talking about these little £5–10 ones that say they're active. I'm talking like a powered active adapter with USB, which will convert DisplayPort to DVI, DisplayPort to HDMI, and give you 120Hz. These things are expensive. I've had a little mess around with adapters like that, not the DisplayPort to HDMI, but going back sort of 5 years ago. They're a very mixed bag. You might be able to do it, but I'm telling you right now, this comes from The Full Setup from Troy. I do not recommend you do it that way. You want to keep it straight HDMI, okay? Next up, knowing your HDMI standards, okay? HDMI 1.4 can do 1080p 144Hz, and it can do 2K 1440p up to 75Hz. HDMI 2.0 can do 1080p up to 240Hz and 2K up to 144Hz. But as I said, there has been some issues with 144Hz. And finally, you know, all of that stuff, it might sound confusing to you. It might be a lot to take on board, but I've got two really good things for you that are really going to help you out. Number one, the MSI monitor, the 1080p gaming monitor that I used in the last video. Works with 120 Hz, no issues. Works with variable refresh rate, both together, no issues. Link for it in the description below, so you can go and have a look at that. And MSI and AOC monitors are seeming to be the best compatible at the moment from everyone that I've been talking to. And also as well, to help you narrow it all down, definitely go over to AMD's Freesync website, okay? So it lets you search all of their Freesync monitors, approved Freesync monitors, and you can look on the HDMI and DisplayPort settings. So it's going to show you if it supports variable refresh rate over HDMI. It's also going to show you the frame rate that it supports on it. Another good thing as well that I would definitely make sure you get if you are buying a monitor brand new anyway, is to make sure that it's got low frame rate compensation. Now, as much as a lot of the games that you're going to be playing, like shooters and racing games, are going to be, you know, able to hit that 120 frames per second, when you're dropping under your FreeSync range, which is 48 Hz, that's where LFC is really useful. So probably in games like Assassin's Creed that we know is really demanding, when you jump out of your FreeSync, it just sort of smooths it out and makes it a little bit nicer for you, all right? Over to the Xbox then. So like I said, we are using the Xbox Series S today, but this should be exactly the same for the Xbox Series X. So you want to go into your settings, you want to go to General, TV and Display Options. Now this is something that I'm going to cover as well, because someone else has actually had the exact same issue. So this monitor is actually a 1080p 240 Hz monitor, okay, with HDMI 2.0. That's what we're using today. Now on my PC and also on the Xbox as well, as you can see here, it's showing as 4K UHD. So it will accept a 4K signal, but it's not showing a 4K image. So we get the options for 1080p and 720p. So this is what you're going to see, okay? So you've got these options, but you've got nowhere here where you can drop down for a refresh rate. And if you go into video modes here, you can turn variable refresh on, you can turn HDR10 on, 24 Hz, 50 Hz. You can change all these settings, but you can't change the refresh rate. So I'll show you for an example here. I can have variable refresh rate working. So this is something that you might find that you have, okay? So you turn on your monitor, you've got variable refresh rate, you've got these features that should be supported via your HDMI, via your Xbox, but you've got no high refresh rate, which means you're gonna have to drop variable refresh rate. I'm gonna keep saying that in the video, all right? Because so many people have asked me about it. So what you wanna do is come over to Video Fidelity and Overscan. You then go to HDMI instead of auto, and you select use manual settings, okay? As you can see, it sets it to 640 by 480. But here we go, I've got a lot more resolution. So let's have a look at the 1440p issue that a lot of people are having. Like I said, this isn't a 2K monitor, okay? It can just accept the signal. We go to refresh rate. I'm gonna set it to 120, and here we go. The refresh rate isn't supported with your current resolution. So we set you to the highest resolution supported by your display with the refresh rate. Okay, now I know a lot of you are going to be saying this is because I'm doing it on a 1080p display. Now this is the error that loads of people are having on 2K monitors, so it's going to default it back. But most importantly, what we're trying to do is 1080p, okay? So we go to 1080p, and then we'll set the refresh rate to 120 Hz, keep this refresh rate, and there we go. We have 1080p at 120 Hz. But again, if we come over to the video modes, as you can see, variable refresh rate has been disabled. So we can't get that one in. What happens if we press allow 4K? You'll see if that changes any other settings in here. No, it says it will not work. So there we go with the override. So that is what you need to do to get 120 Hz set. You do all the override settings. Like I said, you are going to lose variable refresh rate. I would much prefer to have the 120 Hz than 60 Hz with variable refresh rate. So there we go then, that was the fix. Sorry I had to make you wait for so long, but I really did just want to cover all of those things, all of the little issues that people have been having with 1440p, all of the things that maybe I didn't cover as well in the last video, just to sort of reiterate, this is what you need to look for. Obviously, it's not ideal at launch. You know, it's not perfect. It is annoying that there's not a lot of TVs. It is annoying that it's a bit complicated to try and pick your monitor, but you know, if you persist, you should be able to find what works for you. And although it's probably going to lose you some time and be a little bit annoying, you know, order a monitor off Amazon. If you're pretty sure it's going to work and it doesn't, order another monitor, send it back. I know that's probably not, you know, it's not morally right, but you know, you're trying to buy something that works with your other hardware. As a consumer, you're allowed to return something if it doesn't work for you, okay? So if you're trying to find the right monitor, the right TV, and it doesn't work enough, then you should be doing it. And especially if these companies are promoting that these work really well with the consoles and then they don't, then more for you should be able to send it back. But as always, you know, let me know your experiences. Let me know how you're getting on. It'd be really good as well, because I'm probably not going to be doing much more testing on the Xbox now. up until Christmas because it's Oscar's Christmas present. So, you know, it does need to go back in a box at some point. But yeah, if you're watching this video in a month or 2 months time, things have changed. You know, what you get working with your monitor, let us know. If your monitor doesn't work, let us know. Like, everybody needs to know this. You know, there's a lot of gamers in the chat that are trying to figure out which display they want to buy. Anyway, that's it from me today. Hopefully the camera didn't look too crap. I think the audio obviously needs some improvement, but we've got a new microphone coming. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you go to the Discord. And yeah, if you're looking for a 1080p 120Hz monitor that works with variable refresh rate, third time, shameless promotion, there's an affiliate link in the description.